In this video, we're going over our favorite strength-based exercises for hockey players to take their game to the next level. If you're a hockey player that's trying to get faster and more explosive on the ice, then these are the off-ice exercises that you need to be incorporating in your workouts to start developing elite power. Hey guys, welcome back to Relentless Hockey. My name's Kyle, and today we're going to go over some of our favorite power-based exercises for hockey players. Power is one of the most essential attributes for a hockey player looking to take their game to the next level because it's one of those things that translates to every element of on-ice performance. Whether you're looking to add more power into your stride, shoot, or hit harder, power is an element that's going to take your game to the next level. All right, so before we jump in, it's important to understand that we have two different types of power. So we have a speed power, which is something you typically see in sprint work or jump work, or something where you're trying to express as much force as you can, as explosively as you can. And then we have strength power, and it's a little bit different because it's still as explosive as possible, but instead of just going as fast as we can, we're using some sort of load to challenge that power demand, and that's what we're focused on in this video. So in this video, we're going over exercises that specifically focus on that strength power, and that means we're using some sort of load, and typically we'll be using weights. And it's important to realize before we get started that you need to be able to choose a load that is appropriate. So it's not something that's too heavy that's going to be able to slow you down or you're struggling against, but it's also not something that's too light. So if you're using something too light, you're probably not going to have that stimulus demand that we're looking for. But if we're using something too heavy, chances are we're moving too slow. So it's choosing something that's probably a 6 or 7 in intensity and not having it too light or too low. So as we get into our first exercise, we're going to be using probably only around 20 or 25s. For me, I'm going to personally use 20s, but chances are you're going to go a little bit lighter if you're just starting. And we have a squat to press. So this is an awesome exercise because we're really going to be driving a lot from our hips and then finishing all the way through. So it's a full body power demand here. So as I get started, I have my squat. I'm going to be nice and controlled on the way down, and then as soon as I'm ready to express my power, I'm firing up as fast as possible. And this is an exercise that you really want to generate as much force as you can here, and as soon as you hit that bottom position, you're generating as much force as you can to get up there as fast as possible. All right, so our next exercise is the kettlebell swing. We just went over a squat pattern that's super effective, but now we're going to focus on a hinge pattern, and the kettlebell swing is an awesome hinge exercise where we can really start to load up that posterior chain, because as we're in our actual full hinge, what we need to do is fire those glutes and hamstrings as fast as possible to generate that force forward. So I'm going to get set up nice and strong with that kettlebell out ahead of me, and then as I start to pull, it's coming from between my legs and I'm firing up as fast as possible. You want to make sure in this exercise that you're maintaining a strong braced trunk. So we're not opening up, and every single rep we're firing as fast as possible. So if you don't feel like there's a strength demand here, then chances are you're doing it too light, and a lot of players go too light in their kettlebell swings. Really make sure that you're generating as much force as possible every single rep. All right, so for our next exercise, we have a step up with a drive, and this is an awesome lunge-based exercise because we want to make sure that we're generating a lot of force, but we're not overextending. So we want to grab a box that's not too high and not too low, and we're just in a nice sweet spot where we can have a lot of force coming from our hips. So I'm going to choose 2 weights. Again, they don't have to be crazy heavy, but we want to make sure that it's going to create some sort of stimulus that we can work against. And then as I'm ready to fire, I'm generating as much force as I can from my glutes or from my hip to have a strong step up. So you're going to want to perform this exercise for around 8 reps and really focus on generating as much force as you can from that hip instead of from our quad. A lot of hockey players, they tend to sort of fall forward and they have their heel coming off, and it's important to be able to drive from that heel and from that hip. All right, so our next couple of exercises are a little bit more complex, a little bit more elite, so you want to make sure that you have some sort of gym experience before including these exercises in your workout. Our first exercise here is going to be a landmine rotational press, and if you've seen our video on landmine exercises, we love the landmine because it allows you to express a lot of power, and we're going to use one of our favorite exercises, the landmine rotational press here. So I'm going to get set up across my body. So I'm going to start off in an athletic position, and then it's going to be my opposite hand. And then from here, I'm going to be rotating as fast as I can to get right up top. So this is one of those exercises you can express a lot of force in. You don't need a ton of weight. So this is typically done better if it's lighter. So if it's a 10, 15, 25, rather than a 45 or heavier, you really don't need anything heavier than that because you want to make sure that every single rep you're doing as explosively and as fast as possible. All right, our next exercise is another very complex exercise, and you want to have some sort of experience before jumping into. So we have the hang snatch, and this is an awesome exercise for elite hockey players because it's an opportunity to develop power not only in the hinge but also in a pull. So we're going to start in that hang position where we have it just above our knee, and then as soon as we're ready to fire, we have that kind of hip pop, so we're firing everything in our posterior, and then having a pull right up to a finish. And this is one of those exercises that you want to make sure you're not too heavy. So a lot of guys think that this is an exercise they should be continuing to improve and get heavier in, when realistically we want to get faster, we want to get more explosive, and it's not all about just the weight. All right, so our next exercise is the split squat jump, and we're going to do it weighted, which makes it super valuable for hockey players because it's an opportunity to express a lot of power in a unilateral way. So typically we'll have a lot of jump exercises that are double leg, but this single leg jump is super valuable because if you think about your skating, it's always one leg at a time. So we fully loaded up a leg and then we're expressing as much strength as we can or power as we can, and that's what we're doing here. So we're going to grab 2 dumbbells. I'm using 15s, and typically I'd want my players to be doing a 15 or 20. My younger guys probably a 10 or a 12. It doesn't have to be very heavy. We're just looking for some sort of load. So I'm going to get set up in a split squat. I'm making sure that my knee is over my ankle. I don't have any sort of fall in. My foot's not collapsing in. My ankle's not collapsing in. Everything's pointed forward. And then as soon as I'm ready to fire, I'm getting low and I'm jumping as high as I can, all off of that front leg. Now, if you see the position that I'm getting set up in, I want to make sure that I'm not driving from my toes. So I'm sitting back a little bit more and I've fully loaded from my hips. So this is super important because a lot of players, they'll get a little bit too far forward and then their heel will pop off and then they get very quad dominant. So if your heel's popping off, you're probably firing from the quads and not from the strong like glutes, hamstrings, or anything in that posterior chain, and that's what we're trying to work on. So I want you to get set up and really focus on loading up that hip as much as you can before you start your drive. All right, so those are some of our favorite strength power based exercises that hockey players can use to immediately begin to develop elite power that translates on ice. So whether it's to develop a harder shot or harder hits in that rotational press or develop more power behind your stride and in those single leg jumps, these exercises are the exercises that hockey players should be incorporating in every single workout to ensure that they're developing that elite power. If you look at an NHL player's workout, these are all exercises you'll find because they understand the importance of true power development. If you're looking for more information like this, please check out our YouTube channel. We're putting out a ton of content specifically for hockey players, or head over to relentlesshockey.com where we have tons of workout programs and free guides to take your performance to the next level.